My name is Dave Scalina, and welcome to the overview of my capstone paper on horror games and why I feel the industry would be unrecognizable without them. My thesis for the paper is without the history, influence, and popularity of horror games, the industry would be unrecognizable as it is today. And just to start on the brief history of horror games that would be covered in my paper, the widely considered the first horror game, definitely the first survival horror game, would be Sweet Home from 1989, which was based on a movie of the same title. It is actually the spiritual, not successor, which is what Resident Evil was based on. And for popularity, I want to talk about the Resident Evil franchise, which is one of, according to like a lot of Metacritic, game review, not really super scholarly websites, but generally like fan. So on fan ratings, Resident Evil is one of the most popular horror games of all time, which is very obvious given as it is started in 1996 and goes to the present, with the Resident Evil 8 set to release on May 7th in 2021, and Resident Evil 7 selling 8.5 million copies so far, I believe. And so many of the most popular games, the one I could find was Legend of Zelda. I forgot which one. Legend of Zelda. How much Majora's Mask? Ocarina of Time. Sorry, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is widely considered one of the most popular games of all time, and it unfortunately isn't a horror game, which kind of pokes a big hole in my main point. But a lot of horror games have elements of horror in them that really wouldn't, if they wouldn't be as successful without them. So influence in non-horror games that the horror genre as a whole, not just games, have had. So the previous Legend of Zelda um, has these specific enemies: the Re-Dead and the Skulltulas, and I'm not from the same game, but the Moon from Majora's Mask personally creeped me out a lot as a kid, and I have not really scholarly sources, but a lot of my friends have said, yeah, these things creep me out as a kid, and the game wouldn't really be the same without these pretty scary enemies. And another point I want to touch on is a lot of games find success outside of the target audience. The main one I brought up is the Five Nights at Freddy's games, um, where they're popular with kids ages like 8 through 12, even though they're rated teen, which is 13 and up by the ESRB. But part of the reason that they're popular with younger audiences is all of the merchandise that has been built around Five Nights at Freddy's, such as the Funko Pop figures, which are marketed towards, I think, ages 3 and up was all I could find on the Target website, and then the McFarlane toys. Todd McFarlane himself said that the buildable construction sets are one of his most popular selling toy brands and account for a good chunk of his business now. And here are my sources. And that was my presentation on my capstone paper of horror games and why the industry would be unrecognizable without them. Thank you.